The gods are bought. Tonight it must be done. If we fail, none of us survive the night.
The borders are breached!
We must hold the line.
Power changes everything. It changes how people see you.
They say the king's men are coming. There is no smoke without fire.
It changes how people treat you. And perhaps most importantly, it changes the number of enemies you have. As Nzinga's influence grew, so did the forces working against her. Some opposed her openly. Others opposed her in secret. Some feared her intelligence. Others feared her ambition. Many feared both. Inside the royal court of Ndongo, loyalty was becoming increasingly difficult to measure. A smile did not always mean friendship. A promise did not always mean commitment. And an ally today could become an enemy tomorrow. Nzinga understood this reality better than most. Years spent observing politics had taught her a difficult lesson. Power attracts loyalty. But it also attracts jealousy. It attracts resentment. And it attracts people who believe they deserve authority themselves. As pressure mounted across the kingdom, whispers began spreading through palace corridors. Private meetings took place behind closed doors. Secret messages traveled between rival factions. Rumors moved faster than facts, and uncertainty became a weapon. Some nobles questioned her leadership. Others questioned her decisions. A few questioned whether she should hold power at all. But criticism alone was not the greatest danger. The greatest danger came from those who stopped arguing and started plotting. The kingdom was facing growing pressure from Portuguese expansion.
We must strike them hard before the winter snows arrive.
But that leaves our own flank completely exposed.
Trade disputes continued. Regional instability increased. And every political disagreement created opportunities for conspirators. Some believed removing Nzinga would solve their problems. Others believed replacing her would strengthen their position. Neither group understood one thing. Nzinga was rarely where people expected her to be. She moved constantly. Not out of fear. Out of awareness. Karma. She understood that predictable leaders become vulnerable leaders. So she adapted. She traveled frequently. Changed sleeping locations. Maintained multiple circles of communication. Limited the number of people who knew her plans. To some observers, this behavior seemed excessive. To Nzinga, it was survival. Because survival is not luck. Survival is preparation. And preparation saved her repeatedly. Stories began circulating throughout Ndongo. Stories of plots that failed. Stories of enemies who underestimated her. Stories of dangers narrowly avoided. Over time, these stories transformed her image. People began speaking about her differently. Not simply as a ruler, but as a figure who seemed impossible to remove. Some believed fate protected her. Others believed ancestors watched over her. Many believed she possessed extraordinary instincts. The truth was simpler. Nzinga paid attention. While others became distracted by status, she remained focused on risk. While others celebrated power, she studied threats. And while others looked at the present, she prepared for the future. That was the difference. Many rulers see danger when it arrives. Nzinga learned to recognize danger long before it appeared. She understood that every victory creates new enemies. Every alliance creates new obligations.
The enemy forces are advancing. They have already crossed the border.
And every moment of success creates new expectations. Leadership was not a crown. It was a burden, a responsibility, a constant balancing act between survival and ambition. But even the most skilled leader cannot solve every problem. The pressure on Ndongo continued increasing. Portuguese influence expanded deeper into the region. Military confrontations became more frequent. Political stability became harder to maintain. Resources became strained. The kingdom was fighting on multiple fronts. Enemies attacked from outside. Division threatened from within. And every day required another difficult decision. Another compromise. Another sacrifice. 4 years, Nzinga resisted. 4 years, she adapted. 4 years, she fought to preserve what remained. But eventually, she faced a painful reality. The kingdom she fought so hard to protect was becoming harder to defend. Not because she lacked courage. Not because she lacked intelligence. But because circumstances were changing faster than any ruler could fully control. This realization did not come easily. Leaders become attached to places, attached to symbols, attached to traditions, attached to the memories of what once was. Many rulers stay too long. Many refuse to adapt. Many confuse stubbornness with strength. Nzinga did not. She understood something history teaches again and again. The strongest leaders are not those who refuse to change. The strongest leaders are those who know when change becomes necessary. Sometimes survival requires movement. Sometimes preserving power requires changing location.
Today, we lay the foundation of our new dawn. Matamba will rise stronger than ever before.
And sometimes the future cannot be built where the past once stood. So Nzinga began looking beyond Ndongo. Not for escape. For opportunity. Not for surrender. For reinvention. This opportunity appeared in Matamba. To many observers, Matamba was simply another kingdom, another territory.
Her power is fading.
Soon, she will be nothing.
Another political landscape. But Nzinga saw something different. She saw possibilities. She saw strategic advantages. She saw a future. Most importantly, she saw room to rebuild. Matamba offered something Ndongo could no longer provide. Time. Space. Flexibility. The ability to create new alliances. The ability to reorganize resources. The ability to build strength rather than merely react to threats. It was not an easy decision. Leaving familiar territory never is.
She does not waver. Let us see if her composure holds.
This bodes ill for us.
Critics immediately questioned her. Enemies celebrated. Rumors spread. Some called it weakness. Some called it retreat. Others claimed her power was ending. But those people misunderstood Nzinga completely. She was not abandoning power. She was repositioning it. She was moving the game to a different board. And once again, she was thinking several moves ahead. History often celebrates dramatic victories, great battles, heroic charges, triumphant moments that fill songs and legends. But some of the most important decisions in history happen quietly. A strategic retreat, a calculated relocation, a decision to preserve strength rather than waste it. These moments rarely appear glorious, yet they often determine the future. Nzinga understood this better than most. She knew that survival itself could be a victory. She knew that preserving leadership could create opportunities later. She knew that living to fight another day was often wiser than fighting a battle that could not be won. And so she moved, not as a defeated ruler, but as a strategist, not as a victim, but as a planner, not as someone running from history, but as someone preparing to shape it. When she arrived in Matamba, she did not find perfection. She found challenges, new political realities, new rivalries, new uncertainties. But she also found something invaluable: a fresh beginning, a chance to rebuild from the ground up, a chance to create a stronger foundation than before, a chance to transform adversity into opportunity. And that transformation would change everything, because Matamba would become more than a destination. It would become a symbol of resilience, a symbol of adaptation, a symbol of leadership under pressure. The kingdom that emerged under Nzinga's influence would become one of the most important centers of resistance in the region, and the woman many thought was finished was only getting started. Every challenge she had faced, every betrayal she had survived, every lesson she had learned, every enemy she had outmaneuvered, had prepared her for this moment. The next chapter of her story would not be about survival alone. It would be about rebuilding. Expanding. Strengthening. And proving that true power is not measured by what you inherit. It is measured by what you create after everything seems lost. Nzinga was no longer simply defending what remained. She was building what would come next. And what came next would secure her place among the greatest leaders in African history. Not because she never faced defeat, but because she refused to be defined by it.
We must block their advance at the river. This is where we will make our stand.
Not because she never encountered obstacles, but because she turned obstacles into opportunities. Not because history was kind to her, but because she possessed the courage to shape history herself. and from the hills and forests of Matamba, a legend was reborn.
Out of the ashes of war, a legend is reborn. The kingdom of Matamba will Behold your queen!